What's going on, everyone? It's Redgrave here. I hope y'all are having a real good Monday so far. Today's video is going to be about the Season 1 patch notes for MultiVersus. I was going to do one for the patch notes during Season 0, but I thought this would be a good time to actually, go about doing this since the game is basically out of open beta at this point and is now officially released. We're going into Season 1. I'm really excited about everything that's going to be happening in this season. And before we go into the actual patch notes, I do want to do a quick recap of my progress in Season 0, because I'm really proud of it. I've been playing the game since the closed beta back in May, and I have been in love with this game and advocating everybody and their moms to play it, essentially. I've been mainly sticking with Bugs Bunny, but very recently I have been branching out to other characters just to see. I played a little bit of Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, pretty much any of the other characters that are also free during those times I've touched a little bit. Shaggy, of course, but the character that I gravitated towards as my secondary main was Velma. So I've been playing a lot of Velma very recently just because I've been seeing a lot of bugs fatigue for myself. And my MMR with Velma right now in 1v1s is almost as high as my Bugs MMR right now, which is pretty insane. Both of those characters are obviously really good in their own right, but I enjoy playing those two because I enjoy playing them. Those are essentially the two characters that I was saying that I was going to play at the very beginning of MultiVersus when they were coming out with announcements and stuff. And that just stayed true until the very end. So over Season 0, I was also able to make top 100 with Bugs Bunny in one-on-ones, and I was super proud of that. I haven't had a lot of time to really grind out the game as much as I would like to, so of course I dropped significantly, and of course as players continue to play the game, they rise up, other people fall. That's just how it happens. But being able to make top 100 in the leaderboards for a game that I haven't done that before, and I was really proud of myself for that. And I'm also looking forward to going to more tournaments, playing in more online tournaments as well, both in 1v1s and in teams. So this is Season 1, and we're really excited for the next stretch for what's going to happen in this game. I've already seen the patch notes here, and I've already heard all the chatter on who's getting nerfed and what sort of adjustments were going to happen before the patch notes even came out, so of course I knew that Velma and Bugs were going to get adjusted. But in the next season, I'm really happy with the changes that they've made so far, as well as the upcoming changes that are going to happen in the future. So we're just going to go through this. I'm going to give my thoughts on them, and we'll see where things go. Okay, so going on to the official patch notes, starting with the general things. Morty will be arriving in just a couple days on the 23rd. And this patch is going to be coming out in two parts. So the first one is coming out today, August 15th, and the second will be coming shortly afterwards, hopefully in the next few days. I believe they mentioned on Twitter that it was going to be the 17th, so 2 days from now, which is going to be Wednesday. They have a new free character rotation for Arya, Batman, LeBron James, and Steven. I already bought Batman and I already bought LeBron James, so I have a little bit of time with these two already, but I want to play Arya a little bit just to mess around with her, because the thing that I've noticed about myself is that I don't really know how to fight that character at the moment, especially with Bugs Bunny. I've been having more luck with fighting her as Velma, but I need to actually fight more Aryas to get more experience. Same with Steven. I don't have a lot of experience with Steven except for doubles and a couple of singles matches, but I want to get to know those characters a little bit more so that I know what to expect. So, first things first, the meta systems. So, the free rotation characters now have an icon in the character select to identify them as the free characters for the rotation, which is nice, because people were saying that they were complaining about, they wanted to buy a character to try them out, but they were in the free rotation, and then obviously once you get them unlocked, they incentivize to unlock other characters that aren't in the free character rotation, and then they just waste their gold. So this is good to see which characters are actually available in the free rotation at that time, and if you can purchase them or not. The Battle Pass XP match rewards increase from 10 for wins, 5 for losses, up from 5 wins and 3 for losses, which is awesome because the Battle Pass progression, especially during the preseason, was very, very, very slow. And I also would like to add too, just because of how low it was, a lot of people who were grinding the game out really fast were basically completing the Battle Pass at crazy rates, and there wasn't really anything to do after that. So I'm wondering if like that's gonna help a little bit more with the like this increase for the rewards, and then also just the battle passes being longer. But I'm also hoping for more incentivized rewards for actually playing after the battle pass. They disable class-based battle pass missions for classes other than tanks, just because Wonder Woman is unlocked, and they might not have access to a specific fighter other than the tank, just because Wonder Woman is the only character that you can actually get essentially for free by completing the tutorial. And they've also lowered the requirement on a number of seasonal missions, which were the ring outs for top, side, and bottom, which I think is kind of interesting. And then the assists. I'm still not exactly sure about how to get assists because every time I see that reward, like I understand how to get the assist, but like, I don't know, I feel like it requires a little bit more teamwork, and like, I'm glad that they reduced it significantly. Like the ring outs from 75 to 50 I think is nice. It's not a huge change, but 50 assists instead of 125 is, thank you. Thank you guys. So general perks. They have increased the consistency on the perk effect of Clear the Air, which I actually don't really know exactly what Clear the Air does, but they have inconsistencies with the perks interactions with Velma speech bubbles and batarangs, so that's going to be addressed in future patches. Make it Reindog. Projectile speed is now properly applied to thrown items, thank God. Paint a target, fix an issue where projectiles weren't applying bonus damage, which I've also noticed this when I was playing Velma, because some of them work, some of them don't, so I'm glad that they fixed this. Retaliation ready. Reduce unstacked gray health from 3 HP to 3 seconds to 1 HP for 3 seconds. The gray HP meta has been really strong, especially with Iron Giant and Velma, so I'm glad that they're doing a lot to take away with this, and we're going to see more about that down in the patch notes too. School Me Once. Increase consistency on projectile block spawn. Getting hit by Jerry will now spawn a projectile block buff, thank God. Slippery When Faint. Fix an issue where evade distances was not increased on hit cancels. Snowball Effect is an issue where projectiles weren't applying bonus damage, and Static Electricity. Increased consistency on projectile damage application. Thrown items will now apply electricity. And a lot of these are just bug fixes and inconsistencies, which is really nice. So like, they're just more accurate now, which is really good. Gameplay systems. Ice debuff. Movement speed. Slow stack at 1. Stack reduced from 20% to 15%. Slow now scales linearly with each stack of ice debuff, and remove the bug where fighters affected by the ice debuff took additional knockback. I've actually experienced the bug where ice debuff took additional knockback, especially with Superman because of his freeze, which just makes sense because he's Superman, he's a tank, but like, I'm glad that this address was fixed. Ice debuff is also really, really strong right now, and I'm glad that they're addressing that, and they're doing what they can to actually reduce the effects on it, because in a game based about movement, it's not really fun to have your stuff slowed down, especially when you're fighting against like projectile spamming characters with like Ice to Beat You, and then Superman, obviously. Like the main thing about Superman, because I've been playing a lot of Superman, getting the ice debuff pretty much as fast as possible, and then just cutting loose. Like I played a game earlier, even today, where I was doing that, and it was disgusting. And ability cooldowns. Fix a bug where cooldowns would not trigger properly if used near an allied Jake, which, thank God. There was a bug that was going around recently where Jake would go into his, it was his like form shape, and then Velma could just spawn infinite bubbles. That was crazy. Free-for-all gameplay modes. Fix a bug where the pop-up text would display the incorrect point value. Okay. Announcer packs, you can now preview a character's announcer pack before deciding to unlock it, which is awesome. I was kind of wondering why they didn't have that in the first place, but I'm glad that that's there now. I'd also like the same thing for like emotes and stuff too, like being able to preview an emote before you actually unlock it too. They fixed a lot of the bug fixes in the tutorial because there were a lot of them, so I'm not gonna go through this too much, but you know, the tutorial is gonna be a lot better to go through now. Especially with the knockback influence tutorial, because that one was the most notable one. So new terms, added wall fatigue to the glossary and added the terms block, hazard, and wipe to the glossary and update and move this accordingly. Cool. So, characters. We're at the character buffs now, and I believe this is where, I believe that's the last of it in that case. Yep, this is the last of it. So, starting with Arya. So the goal of these changes was to make Arya's combos be more consistent and successful at lower skill levels. Thank you. This is one thing that I noticed especially, is that like during certain instances where I'm playing Arya, like she's able to connect a lot more consistently, and go for really early kills, but then there are times where I noticed where combos weren't really as consistent, and she was like really struggling to actually connect. So I'm glad that they're fixing this sort of thing. Air plus ground up special. Hitting a fighter will now more accurately launch them at an angle to allow follow-ups for Arya. Yep, that makes sense. Up air attack. The first hit will now more accurately combo into the second hit, which is something that I've experienced just seeing it, and I know that it's supposed to, like, the second hit's supposed to hit better, but I would always get hit by the first one. I'm able to DI out of it, so I'm glad they fixed that. Neutral air attack now has earlier branching on hits. Ground side attack. Arya will now retain velocity on the first hit of the side attack, which is good. Ground down attack now has slightly earlier dodge branching. And the one change he has is a bug fix. So you fix a bug where Arya would not copy over capsule hitboxes on her normal, neutral attacks when stealing a fighter's face. So they set Arya's hurtbox to match her victim's hurtbox while she disguises them. Fixed a bug where Arya's top UI would be offset incorrectly when she steals a face. Fixed a bug where Arya's disguise attack box would not be disconnected. Fixed a bug where Arya's original hitbox would be usable during disguise fight. Fixed a bug where hitboxes from Arya's disguise would stay active during her normal attacks. Yep, so these mainly just bug fixes related to Arya's like face steal and disguise attacks. I think these buffs are really good for Arya. I think that she's a very strong character overall, but a lot of her things were basically just like attacks not like connecting properly. So I'm glad this is something that was fixed, and they didn't really like adjust values of like knockback and like damage. It was just about making attacks more consistent to hit. And we're gonna see a lot of these sort of similar things down the line too. So Batman fixed a bug where Batman would overshoot his grapple destination if a fighter he was grappled to dodge. So there was a bug with Batman where he would essentially grapple off the stage and just die. I've experienced that, and I've seen it a lot, and I'm glad that they fixed it. Ground side attack. First hit added 3 frames of whiff recovery. Thank God. And air, ground, neutral attack, which is coming in the second patch, which is the battering. So battering will now return 9.45 seconds of its cooldown, down from 11.55 seconds. This change helps create a window from when the battering is used for the opponent to react. When the perf copied Zilla causing this cooldown to be even shorter, we felt this change was necessary to create counterplay against the battering, which is true. Battering is a really annoying thing to go against, and this is the one thing that I hate about Batman and 1v1 especially, is that battering spam is just insane. And being able to like come in and then just like do combos and then also combo into the battering too multiple times was very frustrating. So I'm glad that they adjusted that. So Bugs Bunny. As a Bugs main, seeing all of this makes me sad at first, but I'm very happy with what they did with Bugs, and I'll explain as it goes on. So Bugs Bunny is a bit too safe in everything he does. We've given him some additional whiff punish windows to help address this. Yes. So this is the thing that I wasn't sure how they would do it, because I knew that Bugs was strong, and I knew that he needed to be adjusted, but I wasn't exactly sure how they could go about it in terms of like making him more fair and consistent. But here it is. So the first thing, they fixed the exploit where Bugs could spawn 2 rockets. Thank God. If you didn't know, Bugs would be able to spawn 2 rockets basically by taking advantage of the server lag by mashing the input, so you could do rocket twice, one after another. They fixed an exploit where Bugs could spawn multiple saves without triggering his cooldown. I didn't know that that was a thing, but obviously, like, cool. Save HP reduced from 16 to 14, so now the safe dies a lot earlier, which is I think is fair, because that safe can stay around for a long time, especially like if Bugs is just hitting it over and over again. Air down special. Bugs' previous tunnels will now disappear when creating new tunnels. I actually didn't know that this was a thing, because the tunnel cooldown is very, very, very long, so maybe that was something to do with Velma's like cooldown as well. Air up recovery added 4 whiffs of recovery. Air side increased whiff recovery by 5 frames. Air neutral increased whiff recovery by 5 frames, and ground down attack. Pi max lifetime set to 8 seconds from infinite, and Pi no longer applies slow. So with the air attacks having whiff recovery, I think that's good, because Obviously, everything else that he has is staying the same in terms of knockback damage and whatnot, and I just sort of like that, but they're increasing the whiff recovery. Here's the thing that I'm not 100% sure about, because Bugs is sort of even though he's a mage, he's also a combo character. Like, he has good combo starters and good loops, but he also has a hit and run style with his rocket, his safe, and all of his projectiles, and getting in there and just doing, like, you know, air side attack and then just getting out of there, like that sort of thing. So he plays two different games, and I feel like as a mage, he should favor the hit and run style instead of the combo style, and I feel like these changes sort of undermine the hit and run style a little bit and focus more on the combos, which I think is kind of interesting. And also, Pi no longer applying slow is stupid. I don't like this change because I think that was one of the main things that made Pi good. He gets an extra projectile, yeah, but like, not applying the slow anymore, I think makes this move significantly worse. Finn. I'm glad that these changes are happening to Finn, especially in one-on-ones, because I was having a lot of trouble and so was everyone else, and even the developers agree that fighting against Finn felt too difficult, as he was a bit too safe and could throw out attacks without much fear of a punish. So they're also doing a hit and hurt box update for everybody in the future, but this is what they're doing for him right now. So for his passive, attacks affected by attack decay no longer spawn coins, which is good, because obviously his thing is all about getting coins and then teleporting. The air down special had an issue fixed where the gems would require 200 golds to spawn, but only cost 100 to spawn. So gems now require and cost 100. So, cool. So air side attack, increased additional whiff recovery. Thank you. Ground air up special, which is the backpack. So they reduced the strength of the vacuum effect of the backpack, so being able to suck the allies in and then keep them in there for the final hit. Weaker hits of the backpack will no longer overwrite strong knockbacks for other attacks, which means that you're able to actually go in and hit them out of it a bit easier. Whiffing with all hits will still drop a coin. Added whiff recovery for it, and then hitboxes should better match the attack. So, good overall on the backpack span movement, and I think that adding the whiff recovery on it too is going to really punish a lot of folks, especially, like, you know, the ones who just spam it over and over again. Air side attack. They reduce the active frames to diminish Finn's ability to hit fighters behind him. Good, because that shouldn't happen. The ground down attack. The distance Finn covers with this attack now scales with how charged the attack is, which is, again, good. Because that move, especially like in terms of edge guarding, is insane. Ground side attack, increase the whiff recovery from the first hit, and then on the house perk. Fix an issue where Finn will still spend gold on gems spawned by the perk. Nice, really good changes overall to Finn. A lot of like whiff recovery, and that's the main thing that I wanted from him, was just his whiff recovery, because even when he was throwing stuff out, he could just still dodge like crazy even if he whiffed, so it was really hard to get in and fight him. Which sort of goes into the projectile spam meta too. So, Garnet. So, song activation starts earlier on frame 12 instead of frame 30. Fixed a bug where Garnet would be stopped by Iron Giant's collision when she moves with her down special. And slightly higher base knockback, which is good, because Garnet doesn't really see a lot of play, and I'm glad that she got a really slight buff to help her out a little bit. Harly. So, Harly bomb VFX shrunk to better match the explosion radius, and she got a weight increase. Okay. I'm really satisfied with where Harly is right now too. I think she's like a really good assassin character, has good combo game, and has good projectiles too. So I'm really satisfied where Harly is. I don't think she's too strong or anything, so I think this is fine. Iron Giant got mega nerfed. Holy shit. A lot of VFX stuff basically that made the screen look super busy on Iron Giant's part. Air and ground down special. Fixing an issue where the VFX trail will persist and fill up the screen. So, can no longer use the cannonball attack when out of air specials. I don't know why that wasn't a thing before, but I'm glad that they fixed that. Knockback angle changes in fighters more horizontally and away from Iron Giant instead of going like up or down, which is good because you could just cannonball infinitely. Fix issues that allow for infinity bouncing on enemies near the ground, which was another thing. This happened in the last patch too, but I'm glad that they're still addressing it and they're still fixing it. They're reducing the gray health activation and gray health from ally will overlap reduce from 5 HP for 5 seconds to 3 HP for 3 seconds. So, again, they're trying to really reduce the amount of gray health that people are getting, which is good. Iron Giant's grabs are correctly blocked by incompatible states, which is... Wait, hold on, what? Iron Giant grabs are correctly blocked by... I'm not exactly sure what that means, actually. Air up attack can no longer hit the same target multiple times. I thought they fixed that already. But maybe there were still issues with it. Air neutral attack. Final hit knockback angle changes to send fighters more horizontally and away from Iron Giants instead of just like staying with them. I've actually seen like the air neutral attack into the other combos, so I'm glad that they did that. Increased knockback scaling for that as well. Ground up attack. Gray health from scraps reduced from 3 HP. You have more gray health stuff. Ground forward attack. Fixed attack decay not triggering for all parts with the forward attack combo. And then the ground down attack has gray HP decreased again. So a lot of Iron Giant, excuse me, was about like the gray health getting reduced and the HP, like, sorry, and then sorry, it's been a long day. And then a lot of like general stuff to like make them a little bit more fair. So I'm glad they're adjusting Iron Giant like this. I think all this is good. Jake, air down attack. Removed instant cancel out of the attack to prevent skateboard infinites, which I've seen before. Glad they're taking that out. And he no longer bounces off allies, which is something that I actually didn't know. I didn't know he bounces off of allies. Ground up attack, additional whiff recovery, slider later charge, cancel window to make it a bit more committal. Because his ground up attack was also really good, and I'm glad that they gave it more whiff recovery. I think that he could use a little bit more adjusting, personally. Like, I think the Jake's a really annoying character to fight, at least for me. I know that there's a bug with him right now with his, like, air side, where, like, he does, like, the extended punch where he can actually just go straight up or straight down. I hope that that gets fixed in the next one. LeBron has mainly change mixes. I'll mix with some buffs, basically, which is good, because I think, you know, he's the experimental character, he was the new character, and I also think he needs a buff, too. So, LeBron's solo dunk no longer spawns a shockwave on the ground, so the alley-oop teleport version of spawns a shockwave that will launch fighters into the shockwave. It will launch fighters into the final hit that applies the weakened debuff. Solo dunk knockback and hit size increased. Fixed a bug where LeBron could dunk himself into the sky. I haven't seen that. That's funny. I really wish I could see that. Ground and so no ball adjusted to prevent ball spam. Fair. Air side attack branches earlier on hit. Fixed for hitbox hitting behind him too much. Air neutral attack branches earlier on hit to increase combo potential. Ground side attack and ground down attack removed shared attack decay from side attack and down attack. Ground side attack, 3-hit combo more consistently. Okay. I think when I play I'm able to hit it more consistently, but I guess there was an issue with that. I didn't realize. Ground neutral attack, fixed angle of attack. Okay, so maybe, yeah, I was thinking of the neutral attack and not the side attack. Actually, wait. Oh, wait, yeah, no. I have those switched, so it's actually backwards for me. So, okay, yep, that makes sense. I get confused because I have my ground neutral switched with the side neutral. Basketball. Fix some team color issues that would occur when reflecting LeBron's basketball. Okay. Hot Hands perk. When an ally catches a no-look pass while the Hot Hand perk is equipped, the basketball pass buff will emit flames that let allies know they will throw an ignited basketball. Cool, so better visual in the queue. Reindog. Removed hit pause on ally that threw a Reindog when Reindog connects in ball form. Increased cooldown from his air and ground neutral special from 13 seconds to 14 seconds, so like just a 1 extra second cooldown. For tether, I mean it's only 1 second, so it's whatever. And then air up attack, the hitbox size increased, so it's a little bit more accurate. Shaggy. Shaggy's side special felt a little too unpunishable. It did. So they added whiff recovery on it. So, good. What is it? Increased by 2 frames. Now better matches Rage Ground side special. And they addressed an issue where he could perform 2 Rage specials in a row. And ground and air side special added 4 additional frames of whiff recovery. So his rage air special had 2 frames. It has 2 frames, and then regular one is 4. So I think that would mean like 6. Either way, I'm glad that they fixed that because the side special is too strong. Steven. Ground down special. Watermelon Steven ability cooldown now begins when Watermelon Steven is wrung out. Fantastic. I remember when I was, like, the one time I was fighting a one-on-one against him, he was getting that dude out constantly. Air neutral attack. No longer will animation hitch. VFX and sound error now fixed. And they fixed an issue where he can only perform his up taunt. Okay. The Watermelon Steven thing, I'm glad, is getting fixed. Superman. Ground neutral attack. Added additional whiff recovery. Ground up attack. Added additional whiff recovery. And ground down special. Added additional whiff recovery. I think they could maybe do a little bit more to Superman than that, but sure. Taz. This is the start of our tornado changes for Taz. So, chicken debuff. They fixed a bug. We could receive buffs that no longer appear visually. Reduce chicken duration from 10 seconds to 8 seconds. I really don't think they needed to do that. But they increased the size of the chicken, so he's easier to hit, which is good. Because it's really easy to get out of there as the chicken. Air and ground down special. Adjust projectile movement direction to Taz spit projectiles to be more forward and less of a lob. Air ground neutral special. If Taz eats a projectile that can't be spit back out, he will refresh a count of his apple core ability. They increased the size of the hit collision for Taz eating projectile. Did they fix the bug? Taz deals 1 second weaken debuff every time you choose an enemy. Fix the bug that allowed our ground movement after eating an enemy fighter. I think this might have been it. I think this was it right here, because there was a bug that you could do where you could go off stage and then down air spike them to kill them. I think that was it. I think that's it right there. Air/ground up special. Damage reduced from 10 to 9 and base knockback. Fix the bug where enemy fighters could become invulnerable to the fight cloud after dodging it. Interesting. Alright, so here's the Taznado change. Now a cooldown move with a 7-second cooldown. While the cooldown is active, side special is a weaker version of the tornado. So full tornado powder has a 1.5 second duration, receives an additional 1 second duration after passing an ally. On cooldown, tornado has a 2.5 second duration, does not gain an additional duration by passing an ally. So you pass an ally, you gain more tornado, but you can still use it. It's just a much weaker version of the tornado. I like that, because I was thinking if it was a cooldown move, it's like you're just completely taking out the move. But only a 7-second cooldown, and having it like be a less powerful version every 7 seconds, I think that's fair. Tom and Jerry. So Dynamite now applies a projectile perk effects. Fix the bugs that will prevent Tom and Jerry from using normal attacks when air special limit has been reached. And fix an issue where Jerry could continue to have active hit frames when falling from the rocket. Okay. So something that Tony mentioned on Twitter is that Tom and Jerry is a very interesting problem for them, and I actually agree with this, because Tom and Jerry is better utilized on a like expert level in terms of like the really high ranks. Obviously Void is a really, really good Tom and Jerry player, and I fought a fair amount of Tom and Jerry players, especially in like ranks, like the high ranks, and these two were a menace. However, they're not as good in the lower ranks, which I've also seen when experimenting with other characters. So they essentially have the exact opposite problem as Tasmanian Devil, where Taznado was really, really hard for people in the lower echelon, but in the upper echelon, it wasn't a huge deal, and we were able to find ways around it. But with Tom and Jerry, their problem is with like the high level play and not the low level play. So it's the exact opposite problem that Taz has. So it'll be really interesting to see what they do to fix it. But for right now, Tom and Jerry, I'd probably say is still one of the best characters in the game, and if you haven't picked him up yet, you definitely should. Velma. All of the nerfs to Velma. Air side special. Reduced the move distance. I actually didn't think that this was much of an issue because I never used it as often, but apparently the distance that it traveled before and giving Velma additional coverage wasn't intended, so they fixed it. So I understand that. Air Up Special, they reduce the weakened stacks from 3 to 2, and it will no longer chain into Air Down attack as easily to prevent easy application of damage, because that was Velma's real big combo, and I loved doing this myself, where you would do down air into up special, down air into up special, and then you could combo more from there. It was an insane move, it was an insane combo, and I think this is a really good way to fix it. Unfortunate that you can't do the combo as easily anymore, but I'm like, the as easily makes it seem like it's still possible, so I'm gonna have to experiment around with it and see what we can do with it. Ground side special, reduced gray health from 12 HP for 4 seconds to 6 HP for 3 seconds, so again, reducing gray health. Air down attack, increased recovery, which, yeah, definitely. Air side added whiff recovery, so, which is good because air side is really easily spammable. Ground, air, and neutral attack, fix an issue where word bubbles would go through bugs as tunnels. I've actually seen that. I didn't realize that that was an issue. I just thought that was a cool thing that you could do. They reduced the ammo count from 4 to 3, and reduced the ammo return from 11 to 10. So, you have one less speech bubble, but it returns slightly faster, which is good. They decreased her weight from 63 to 60, so they made her a little bit lighter and easier to kill. And the Knowledge is Power perk reduced the gray health. Again, just reducing gray health. Cool. And then last but not least, Wonder Woman, getting a buff. So she is honestly like a really good character, and I think that this buff might make her one of the better characters in the game now. She's a high tier, and I think this is probably gonna make her top. So ground, air, and neutral special, lowered cooldown by a second. Yeah, and I think that's the lasso. I think so, and the lasso, especially with the perk, is really annoying to fight against. Ground side special, projectile shield comes out earlier to allow her to better react to incoming projectiles. Air up attack, her box should now better match the animation, and increased her weight from 65 to 76. So she's a lot heavier now. Okay. That's a big weight increase. So she is gonna be much harder to kill, but I think she might be a little bit slower because of that. And then the Shield of Athena signature perk. Adjusted scale of projectile shield for Sheen of Athena to cover an edge case where projectiles would pass above it during a dodge. Okay. Overall, I'm really satisfied with this patch and what they're doing with it. I love how a lot of this is just more like adding whiff recovery, bug fixes. Obviously, getting rid of the gray health is very important, and I think that that's good. And there's more to come. Like, there's more stuff that they're going to be doing in the future, especially with Tom and Jerry, like I mentioned before, because that's a really big problem. I think that Superman might be on that list as well. Maybe some more stuff with Batman. But I think the post-Evo patch and, like, addressing a lot of the issues that people were having I think this is really good. I think this is a really, really good patch overall. If you have any other opinions about it, let me know, but I think that this is definitely it. This is definitely a really, really good patch for the first season. So yeah, that's it. That's all I got for you guys today. So I hope you all have a good rest of your weekend, and let me know what you think of these changes, what you agree with, what you disagree with, and what you would like to see in the future. I've also been streaming MultiVersus pretty much anytime I stream now on Twitch, so if you want to play some matches with me and have some discussions there, follow my Twitch in the link in the description below. But that's all I got for today. Thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you next time.